Hi, welcome to today's PEP Talk. I am right. Within communication, it's not uncommon for people to get stuck in believing they are right and they're going to show the other person that he or she is wrong. The reality is, in communication, typically it isn't about somebody being right or wrong. It's typically about somebody's perception of what's happened or their feelings about it. Yet we will get very hung up on making sure that the other person knows that we think they are wrong and that we are right. And I believe that taking a step back and working on not becoming defensive when we're having communication, especially communication that might be a little sensitive in nature, if we can take a moment and slow down, I think we can hear what the other person is saying and we can respond to what they're saying in a way that can actually help facilitate the communication versus breaking it down. We don't have to agree on things. It really is okay that we have different views. I can remember a situation that happens very differently than how somebody else remembers it. It doesn't mean that either one of us is right or wrong. It just simply means that we remember it in a different way. If somebody comes to you and says, I am hurt by something that you said to them, our typical instinct is to want to defend against that. We don't want to be wrong. Human beings do not want to be wrong. We don't want to do anything wrong. And we definitely don't want somebody to point it out if we do do something wrong. So if someone comes to you and they say, I'm hurt by something that you said, it's easy to want to defend against that. However, if we can take a moment and hear what they have to say and listen and then validate their feelings, and then if they did hear us incorrectly, take that opportunity to say, that wasn't what I intended. What I meant to say was, and then sharing with them what it was that you meant to say. Sometimes we don't hear what people are saying in the way that they intend for us to hear it. We have our own experiences, and sometimes we hear things based upon those experiences. And we could have heard something and not necessarily heard it in a way that the person delivered it. Again, going back to that example, if someone says, I'm hurt by something you said, instead of saying, that is not what I said, I cannot believe that that is what you heard, that is not, there's no point in going down that road. If you're just going to refute and argue with them and say that's not what you said, nothing is going to get accomplished. However, if you just take a moment and say, okay, what I wanted you to hear was, or what my intent was, and then you state it again in a way that might be different than how you said it previously, maybe that person can then hear it in the manner in which you've delivered it. Or another example, somebody is sharing with you something that happened to them. Let's say they had an argument with their supervisor at work and they're sharing with you what happened. And you're thinking, you're listening to this going, seriously? I cannot believe that they were upset about this. This is no big deal. It's not important for you to point out to them that you think what they're saying is ridiculous. To validate them in that moment, let them know that you hear them and be with them in that moment versus telling them that what they're thinking is wrong. Because who's to say your view is, quote, right? We get hung up on believing our perspective of everything is the right perspective. And I think if we step back for a moment and say, you know what, this person can see it differently than I see it, and it's not about anybody being right or wrong, it's just simply a different perspective. Thank you for joining me today, and I encourage you to do one thing purposefully to attain true PEP for life.